Unmuted and recording.
Okay, I will call the Lowell Light and Power regular board meeting of August 12th to order. That's 2025. Charlie, can you do the roll call?
Chairperson Beecham.
Here.
Vice Chair Fonger.
Here.
Board Member Cadwalder.
Here.
Board Member Shrouden.
Here.
And Board Member Crawford.
Here.
At this moment, I'd like to take a moment of silence and reflection. As everybody is aware, we lost a member of our light and power family, Jamie Teachworth, Ryan's wife. Had a strong fight against cancer, and finally passed away this last Sunday. I don't know if it was Sunday or Monday morning, however you go about it. And reflection is, Jamie volunteered for Fran. She volunteered for Pink Arrow. I got to know her a little bit. She traveled with us when we went to the Lyman's Rodeo in San Antonio. She was a great person. And when I talk about reflection, not only thinking of her and her family, but it's a good time to think of your family and the things that you can do in the community. And with that, we'll just take a moment of silence and reflect. All right, we'll move on now and looking for approval of agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
And I'll support it.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of the minutes from the July 15th, 2025 regular board meeting.
I'll move to approve the July 15th regular board meeting minutes.
I'll support.
It's been moved and supported. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Safety moment.
That's me today, and actually just changed my mind on the topic. I'll start by saying wear your seatbelt. Seatbelts save lives. But I wanted to share, kind of in honor of Jamie, wanted to share her wishes. But Michaela, her daughter, Ryan Jamie's daughter, put this on Facebook this morning. Says, people often ask, is there anything I can do? Let us know. Her response was donate blood at your local blood bank, Varsity Blood Center of Michigan. Volunteer at your local thrift store like Flat River Outreach Ministries. Serve food at a food bank. Volunteer to work your local polling place, and always buy local if possible. So I thought that was appropriate. We are in the very early stages, almost before it's even started, but we're going to look at a blood drive, organizing a blood drive in Jamie's honor. So instead of a traditional safety moment, I thought donate blood. It's a heck of a good way to honor Jamie, and from a safety standpoint, donating blood saves lives.
Perfect.
So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to action items. There's nothing listed there,
No action items today.
and we'll move on to informational items.
All right, so the only thing that we'll stop and really hit on a little more detailed is we did receive the 2024 MERS Municipal Employees Retirement System, or annual, I read the wrong word, annual actuarial evaluation report. So this report is Something that MERS provides us once a year in June, I believe, into May, early June, somewhere around there. But they look back at the previous calendar year, and it's basically an assessment of where we sit with all of our retirement, all of our retirement plans. And as the board's aware, our main focus has been on the pension plan. There's a funding deficit that has been the attention of the state. It's been our attention. We've made quite a bit of progress. I don't necessarily need to go through all of the steps, but it's a good reminder that we have the O1 division, which you'll see in the report, which is the traditional pension division. There's an HA division, which is the hybrid plan. The hybrid plan is a bridge to closing down the pension, the full defined benefit plan. And the hybrid plan is exactly that. It's a hybrid of a defined benefit and a defined contribution plan. And then you'll notice a surplus division to the HA and O1 division in there. And there's the city also has a surplus division, but the surplus divisions are tied to specific, or the surplus funds are tied to specific divisions. And just another reminder, we fall under the same retirement umbrella as the city. So when you look at this, this is the entire report. I've gone in, or this is the entire city's plan. So this is our plan along with the cities. I've gone through and included some graphs that I thought we would just focus on. I'll start by saying, I guess, the overall funding percentage of the plan, which the target is north of 60%. If you drop below 60%, you have to file corrective plan, corrective action plans. I can't remember exactly what the state calls them. But essentially, you have to tell the state how you're going to get your pension funding in order. As an overall plan, at the end of 2023, we're at 68% funded. This year we're 67% funded. This year we're 68% funded. So we're seeing overall growth, but where it really, I guess what really matters to us is we're financially responsible for the divisions that impact Lowell Power, and the city is financially responsible for the divisions that are outside of Light Power. So if you'll scroll down to the graph, Julie, I believe it's on page 43, so it's down a ways.
The graph you made, Charlie?
Yes, please. Yeah. We'll stop here. So a couple of things. I'm just going to start by running through the top and bottom. So the top line there is the total accrued actuarial liability. So this is essentially what we need to fund. One of the positive things that I want to highlight is that it appears to be flattening out. Actual raw numbers, you can kind of get an idea of raw numbers. This year we were at 6,271,789 in total accrued actuarial liabilities. Previous year was at 6,271,154. So we've seen a very, very small change in that number, which is what we would expect. We only have 2 current active employees that are still in the O1 division, and that's what's driving quite a bit of that liability, which is the pension or the defined benefit plan. And as you drop down to the next line, that is our total assets. The gray is our total assets, and then the orange line that dips off in 2021 represents our assets without the surplus division. So all I'm trying to do there is show you what growth we've made specifically in that surplus division, which is really our planning efforts to expedite of the pension plan. And then the last set of lines there is our percent funded. And again, you see the percent funded without surplus, you see that dip. And what I just want to bring your attention to is if we were to only make the minimum required contributions that MERS requires us to be at, we would be in that white or blue line. So the voluntary contributions that we've made are that delta there, and that's what represents that surplus division. And you see quite a bit of growth in that surplus division. This past year, we spent, or in calendar year 2024, we made a large one-time contribution last calendar year. We made 12 months of surplus contributions. So the end of the road, or at the end of the day, what are we sitting at? And that total funding percentage is sitting with the surplus division. We're sitting right at 65% funded. And to give you an idea, 5 years ago, 2020, we were at 57% funded. So we saw a good bump in 2021. But you're seeing the fruits of many years of making contributions, and it's challenging because another thing I will highlight to you is the orange line there, right in the middle. Those are our assets without the surplus fund. We would expect growth there on an annual basis. We make a contribution annually, and there is presumably a rate of return on that money that we have sitting there. That's a concern for me. We stay engaged with MERS and we do what we can, but we actually saw almost $100,000 dip in our assets without surplus funding from last year to this year, which it's really hard to see $100,000 when your incremental units are $1 million. So it's not a huge percentage, but the fact that we didn't see growth in our assets without that surplus division is something that we're just going to continue to monitor. If you were to assume that our liabilities or actuarial accrued liabilities were to stay consistent next year, the contributions that we've already made this calendar year would take us to about 77.5% funded. So that's another couple percentage points. And if you look at what we have budgeted for this calendar year, what's already been made in terms of contributions and what's going to be, or what's planned to be made throughout the rest of the year, it would take us almost to 69% funded. So we're starting to see even more fruits of these additional contributions. So we're going to continue to chip away at it. It's all part of the plan. And I guess at the end of the day, we're actively managing the pension liability. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is, if you go to the next graph, Julie, just so the board is aware, this is somewhat of an arbitrary date. I picked 2020 as a starting date, but the blue line is what our required annual contributions are. So these are what the bare minimum is. And you can see quite a bit of an upward trend there. And that's the actuarial evaluation recalculates our minimum contribution to have us fully funded by 2039, I believe. That date I'm pretty confident in. The wall says 2039. And that's all the plans are based on fully funded in 2039. So those payments are what so presumably we make these minimum payments, we're fully funded by 2039. With a closed plan, you would not expect significant increases year over year in the expense to maintain or to grow funding, because it's supposed to be a smooth amortization. But obviously we deviate from assumptions. There's assumed rate of returns, there's assumed mortality, there's assumed pay increases, assumed retirement age. There's a lot of assumptions that go into that planning. So I only bring this up to show a long-term trend that we've seen quite a big increase. It's cumulative of almost 70% increase in our required contributions over the last 6 to 7 years. Again, it's an arbitrary number. If you take that first number out, if you take that first year out, the numbers change significantly. So it's not intended to be anything more than a peek into some longer trends. And in the future, if those required payments become a hindrance to our capital budget, whatever the case may be, we always have the ability to shift funds from the surplus division over into the actual pension division, and then they'll recalculate our required contributions based on those new numbers. But the surplus division is kind of held off to the side. So it's not factored into what it would require. So that's kind of the icing on the cake. And again, we're not by any means advocating or recommending the board take that action. It's just more an awareness that if we do come to you in a few years and this trend continues, we have some flexibility in the future to, like I said, potentially roll some of those funds or all those surplus funds over into the actual pension fund, recalculate it, then we can, the surplus fund is still there, so we can continue, we can reduce our required payment and continue to make payments into a surplus division. But at this point, this is just illustrative. We just wanted to highlight that this is a long-term trend that, the plan costs more incrementally every year. And a lot of that is geared towards that 2039 fully funded target. But we're marching kind of down a parallel path with that surplus fund. So happy to answer any questions. And then for Jim, depending on when the city plans on reviewing this at city council, my plan will be, as long as I'm available, to be at the city council meeting to ask any or answer any questions from a city council perspective. Because we do fall under the city's umbrella. So if there are questions the city has, but we are aggressively, systematically and aggressively addressing that underfunding over a long period of time. But it's something that we're 4 to 5 years into at this point, and we're seeing the fruits of that planning and that active management.
It's nice to see, we've got a good handle on the mechanics of what we've already got going on. There's a plan, we're working it, things seem to be good. I guess my only question would be is looking a little bit bigger picture. Do we have the retirement plan that we want for our employees? Are employees happy with it? Are you happy with presenting it to them? Are there any tweaks, down the, you know what I'm saying? Just bigger picture. Are we doing the plan that we should be doing?
We have an incredibly generous retirement plan. I don't know if Julie is much closer to the various plans than I am, so I don't know if she has anything to add, but at this point, I do not anticipate any known recommended changes at this point. So I don't know if you have anything to add, Julie.
I don't have much to add except for when I went to like the MERS conference, I would say most people are getting away from the pension and doing.
Right, and doing the models that we're doing here, and
Yes, as MERS recommends. And so we've already done that, so I felt good there, like it wasn't like we were the only one that did or didn't.
right.
It seemed like most people have moved away from like a DB pension.
Yeah, and so I'm glad to hear that you're going to those conferences, and I'm sure that if anything caught your eye or whatever, you would hopefully.
Yeah,
look
so it's
into
a
it.
voting thing, the city and Light and Power, votes for
Right.
others to go. So after I went, this year, I'm not sure who got voted in to go. I always tell everyone at Light and Power, I'm willing to go. They talk about a lot of items there.
Mhm.
We're supposed to switch softwares. So I'm hoping they talk about it then and we learn a little bit, but I don't want to not send anyone. And if it's available to go, I like to go because they do talk about a lot of good things. I had never went until maybe, well, since Charlie been here. So, and then Becky encouraged, and I was like, I've never been, worked here for over 10 years at that point, and I was like, I'll go. And it was great to go and see some of the stuff they talked about and our plan. So you learn a lot there. So yeah, thank you. It was very nice to go. So we'll see. Janelle takes the votes and then determines who gets the most votes gets to go and vote. That's how it works.
And I think the other thing that from from a retirement structure plan is a lot of layered options. All new employees automatically are enrolled in the automatically enrolled in the defined contribution plan.
Right.
But on top of that, we also offer some voluntary retirement programs. There's a 57 that we just last year expanded. Last year or 2 years ago?
2 years.
Time flies when you're having fun. 2 years ago, we expanded to do a 1% match on that. That came out of the union negotiation. So we've made some small tweaks. But those optional plans are open to all participants of the or all full-time employees. So whether you're in a hybrid DC or a DB, you can participate in the 457. There's also a 457 Roth, and then with the new high deductible healthcare plan, the HSA is essentially another form of a retirement planning, which I guess that's how they were originally structured. And there's some tax advantages with the HSA to be able to utilize HSA and capital gains from your HSA tax-free. So we really have taken, or the board has taken a layered approach. So if there are, I don't anticipate, back to your original question, I don't anticipate any tweaks to kind of the core of the retirement plans, but there may be opportunities for supplemental changes or new offerings. But right now, I would say we have an incredibly, I wouldn't say incredibly, but we have a very thorough retirement plan that should very much be something that we do promote to our employees and encourage them to utilize, because there's a lot of opportunities there. And if you look at how we stack up in the market, I would put us very much on the front edge of the bell curve in terms of quality of retirement program. Any actuarial questions, pension, retirement in general? Happy to answer any questions. All right. And we will roll on to performance data. I won't spend too much time on performance data. It's the first month of the year. So the one thing I will bring up is sales from July. It was a hot month. We saw sales higher than we ever have before at the overall level. Little less, not our biggest month in terms of industrial sales, to be expected. Again, very much weather driven, but your commercial and your residential sales really noticeable at the residential level. When you get, if you want to scroll down to the residential graph, you really see in that the bar graph that it's significantly higher than any previous single month.
The people walking by.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
fair game. Fair game. You see a bald eagle and you're in my office, it's always fair game to stop and point it out, for sure.
Yeah.
But from a performance data standpoint, this was really the big thing. We started the year with a very hot month, and it does, I bring it up because it reinforces a lot of the discussions we've had over the last couple of years about weather and impacting residential sales specifically. And you see when it gets hot and it stays hot for an extended period of time, that results in increases in expenses for customers from a cooling standpoint. So yeah, started the fiscal year that way. And then if you go to the cost per kilowatt hour, especially at the residential level, you see a significant dip because a bigger percentage of residential bills are fixed charges. So from a percentage standpoint, your customer charge is just a bigger percentage of a residential bill. You have more kilowatt hours to spread that over, your effective rate goes down. Other than that, cash, you'll see the new uptick in the 120 days and 140-day target. And then the overall dip in cash is largely that bond redemption fund. We make our 2012 refinancing bond principal and interest payment is due in July. keep shaking your head if I get it wrong, Julie, I appreciate that. Looking out of the corner of my eye to make sure I don't miss a month or something, so. The only other thing that you'll notice is you see some differences between the red and the orange. We had a $250,000 CD come up that we were just holding on to because we're kind of preparing from a cash flow standpoint for the grant. So we didn't immediately reinvest that, so that $250,000 just moved from the Huntington Investments into the Huntington Bank account with very little change in those two accounts combined. But we will revisit reinvesting that with the news about the grant. And happy to answer any questions along the way, but I'm kind of breezing over these. And then if you just, I think that's. I'll scroll down to the piece. Well, I mean, it's worth bringing up the electric requirements. You don't see the peak that we talk about because there's a delay in that graph. So if you're curious, why don't you see a new peak in the red line or the blue line? That's just because there's a lag with some of that data. PCA and PCA revenue, as I've highlighted in the past couple months, cyclically, we see upward pressure on the PCA, and then volumetrically, we saw quite a few sales. So you see the two lines just separate a little bit. And again, there's not much difference in those two numbers. They should really follow the same general shape pattern. But we did include both, so you can see, volumetrically how sales throughout the year can impact that total PCA revenue that we collect. And that is all I had for performance data. If anybody has any questions. Zach, you want to take away the outage report?
Yeah, we had 5 outages this month. First one was a bird on Monroe Street. We also had to fix some other things. That's why the outage is slightly longer for just a bird. But we went ahead and squirrel guarded and changed cutout and stuff like that. So it just took a little longer, but we'll be better in the long run. Lincoln Lake, Hudson Beach, Godfrey Hunt area. We had a tree come down. Yeah, that was a pretty good tree. So, North Washington is a bad transformer. And the bad part about that, not bad part, is that transformer was on our overloaded transformer list. So we changed it out a week before, and then the new transformer went bad. So
This up at Atwood or whatever? Or?
No,
Was a. Oh, yeah.
Then we had another bad transformer that was not overloaded on, I believe it was actually on James Street, but East Main and Grove Street were also infected. And then on East Main, we also had a bad insulin. So, yeah.
Call me about
Was that a new transformer, the one that went back a week or rebuilt?
It was.
Is it like a brand we always use, or was there anything that,
You want?
was it a brand that we always use? Was there anything that?
Yeah, it was a Cooper. I'm pretty sure it was a Cooper from 1989. We've actually had very, very good luck with those. Really, really good luck with them actually. So it's just a fluke thing, and then
it was perfectly good the day it came down.
yeah, perfectly good. Yeah,
Was the tree man-made cause or by nature?
nature. We had a gust of wind that came through for about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes after we left work, and we found a couple of trees.
All right, thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
We'll roll on to the income statement. The only thing I'll highlight here is had a better than budgeted month from a net income standpoint. But if you look at distribution expenses, they show up as 44% over budget year to date. And all that is it's timing issues. That's Megan develops a monthly budget based on historical spreads throughout the year. And those historical spreads aren't always indicative of how much time we actually put towards the expenses that are captured in the income statement. So we're watching it, but there was very little labor that hit the capital budget in July. Zach's just getting kicked off on the capital budget. They're wrapping up some other items and doing some prep work, and just was not much labor that hit the capital budget. So there's assumptions that a certain amount of labor is going to hit the capital budget every month. Just didn't happen. Timing wise, it didn't happen that way. So by no means is that alarming. It's just a matter of, it's the first month and there's a lot of labor tied in there. And there's a couple one-time expense type items, but it's the only thing I necessarily wanted to bring to everybody's attention. Happy to answer any questions though.
Are we seeing a reflection of, I want to say, we're having to pay for, we're having to, had planned for the shutdown of Campbell, and with the government forcing us to keep it open, are we having to double dip? Is it costing us? Or just a general oversight?
So high level, we did not budget to continue operating Campbell. So there are costs that we're going to incur that weren't budgeted. We also made plans to replace that power through market transactions, through the stability hedge plan that the board votes on every year, that kind of lays out how we're going to procure power and at what intervals and to what percent price certainty we want in our power supply. We went out because of that stability hedge plan that does provide most price certainty. We entered into some contractual arrangements, bilateral agreements for replacement power. We are selling a lot of power off into the market, so there's a lot of variables in looking at the actual expenses. But from a purchased power expense, we are incurring expenses that this year that we weren't anticipated. It would take a deeper analysis to understand, and we talked about it actually today, a deeper analysis to see there's a lot of variables in there. So you've got Campbell market prices and bilateral prices. So until we really know all of the pieces, I don't think we could comfortably give a good number. But intuitively, you just look at the expense side of things. We're paying for Campbell, and we're paying for the power that we intended to use to replace Campbell. But again, there's a lot of variables. MPPA is working on a transaction where we can get replacement zonal resource credits, which are capacity credits, basically. The Campbell unit was not offered up into the MISO planning auction, so it didn't get any accreditation. I'm not going to begin to claim to understand the mechanics of getting replacement CRCs and what that looks like and what the value is. But I guess to your point, I think we're incurring some, intuitively, we're incurring costs that we would otherwise not be incurring. But between our management and MPPA's management, we're trying to maximize any revenue stream, maximize any value streams that were associated with continued operations. But I do not anticipate us walking out of this without incurring additional expenses. Any other income statement questions? I would say the revenue follows. It was a hot month. That was the other piece. But a good start to the year and a good foundation. Good foundation to move forward. Moving on to the capital projects, as I already mentioned, there was not much in terms of work that hit the capital budget. It was the equipment replacement funding, and then a little bit of work prepping for some voltage conversion projects that Zach has lined up. And
How is, well, I guess I'll wait. Never mind.
so you're welcome to now. We're only gonna be here for another 10, 15 minutes. So you might as well keep
Okay,
on.
just, well, I guess we're moving into Zach's report, and I
Yeah.
guess it was gonna be kind of related to that, so, yeah, I was gonna ask, how about the east side upgrade, voltage conversion, that, transformer over on Lafayette Street, is that on the docket to get taken out, or?
Yeah, that has been, there's some pretty big hiccups getting through to where we are now, but we have, September 2nd and 3rd, we have a warrant contractor coming in. They're gonna pour 2 services in. We're gonna get those prepped, ready to go, and then in the next 2 weeks after that, we're hoping to have an outage sometime in that time frame. And then when we have the outage on there, that some transformer will be taken out of service.
We'll have a small.
So it's gonna be a big deal. We're gonna have to have a planned outage where people will be feeling it for a short period of time.
Yeah, it's the same thing we've already done on Monroe, Washington.
Right.
Just, it'll be I think the one on Washington was a 45-minute outage.
Okay.
So,
Gotcha.
I mean, we planned for a longer one than that. This one's gonna be a little more invasive, but, it still won't be a super long. And we'll be able to, it won't be everybody comes on at the same time. It'll be everybody comes on when their transformer, we get to their transformer. So it's not like everybody's gonna be out for 2 hours, let's say.
Right.
It'll be, one guy's gonna be out, one transformer could be out for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the next one, it just how we get to it.
Okay.
We're also planning on bringing Portland in for that as well. So we'll have another crew, possibly 2, to help with that, just speed things up.
So when you say that, the transformers that are already on the poles, like on Washington Street, those have already been upgraded. So haven't they? Or, yeah,
We have one transformer that we have to change out, on there, and then one bank we have to change out.
okay.
And then, once that's done, the bank though is for the water tower, and they have a generator, so they've said, just make sure we're last, because we're not affected. So,
Yeah.
that's very helpful. And we'll save time for everybody else.
There's been a lot of prep work going into minimizing the actual outage time. And the way the whole new feed is set up, where the new main 3-phase goes up Jackson, Jefferson, whatever road that is, I can't get, they shouldn't be allowed to put 2 J names next to each other. Can't keep them straight. I can't keep a lot of things straight. Julie's laughing at me. And she's right.
It's part of life.
Yep, she's right. But the new 3-phase that runs through there, the way that they built that, there's 2 voltages on a lot of it, where there's the old 4160 and then there's the new 12470. So the other side streets, they were able to convert from the 4160 side over to the 12470 side and not impact the rest. So we've been able to stage in the work to help minimize some of those outages as well. So they've done a fantastic job
Jeremy,
prepping for
and
it.
this is the ground transformer off of Lafayette or the one down by the showboat? Which one are we looking at?
This is the one, Lafayette.
Lafayette. Okay,
This is the one right in the corner there.
Yeah, by where the growing stuff used to be kept.
Used to be. I kept them downtown. At least that specific stuff was.
I just brought it up, but I get asked by those guys all the time, and coincidentally, I was over there before I came here this evening, so they keep asking about it, so.
Getting close.
Getting close.
Yeah, so with that, I'll hand it over to Zach, for the distribution report.
I stand by my report.
Okay. Any questions for Zach? We'll roll on to Casey.
I have a quick question about the outage you were talking about. So when you roll people back on gradually, how does that look in the outage report? Or have we never had one like that before where it sounds like what you're gonna have is, X customers are gonna be out 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
I don't know how we do the planned outages I know like in a storm situation, if we're able to get this entire line on except for Pratt Lake, which seems to always be Pratt Lake. they'll actually enter two different outages.
Right.
And enter the main outage up until, and then a smaller outage that is the entire time. But as far as, I don't know if we document our planned outages in the, yeah, so we don't put our planned outages in the e-reliability tracker from a reporting standpoint.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Stand by my report. Encourage everybody to read them. There is a lot of good information, a lot of stuff that, it's just good information to have. Lots of progress happening, and then we'll hand it over to Julie.
Yeah, I just wanted to, say I appreciate, my staff, I guess, regarding the website and the social media, how well they work together. It talks about a lot of, collaboration of them working together and creating different things, and, it's just great to see.
Agreed.
It is, I agree.
Thank you.
The office staff is a heck of a good team. Everybody is. That's not saying any other division, any other department's not. But that's been a big push, I don't say, I don't know, maybe it's just that group clicks together, but they work exceptionally well together, and it's really an enjoyment to get to watch and try not to screw things up, because they're a well-oiled machine, so. All right, I will jump into my report. Something that I should have done last month that I wanted to acknowledge, but and of course I've been distracted this week, admittedly. But Tina and Andrew were both reappointed to new terms last July. So congratulations, that's awesome. I think the last time you were appointed, we were trying to figure out how many appointments, how many terms both of you have served, and I don't think we ever came up with an answer. But it's well over a decade for both of you. So
I appreciate being here.
that's awesome.
Doesn't seem like it's gonna.
It doesn't.
Oh, I mean, this has got to be at least your fifth term.
I don't know, how long's Carrie been here?
Along with all of us.
Third
I think you need a spreadsheet to track.
Yeah, so.
Lowell
But I wanted-
Power is
wanted to-
129 years old next month.
But I wanted to recognize specifically the service that both of you represent, and that you provide to the board and the community. Thank you for that commitment. I hope the general public realizes that this is a volunteer position. And it's very, it can be, I'm sure, a very tough position to fill, get thrown at the power industry, and good luck dealing with all the changes as fast as they come. So thank you both, and I will have an updated code of conduct sign off for both of you. I'll probably just turn it next month. We do that with every appointment. I should have done it last month, should have done it today, but yeah, admittedly, my brain was elsewhere today.
My conduct won't change.
No, I'm also not all that concerned. I was more concerned about failing to recognize the new term than worrying about the code of conduct. Couple things I want to highlight. I talked about the solar grant a little bit and provided some information to the board, but Eagle did announce, we got official notification from Eagle today that they've been instructed to cease all activities related to the Solar for All grant. And the grant, as of right now, we're in a holding pattern, waiting to see. As I mentioned, there is an expectation of litigation, but obviously we will let the states and the recipients fight that battle. We're going to remain focused on our core mission of serving our customers, and if the potential or the opportunity comes back up, we'll cross that bridge and look at that evaluation at the time. But as of right now, we're in a holding pattern just like Eagle. But I'll keep the board informed as I know more. But yeah, moving on just as an awareness, you will get an email directly from MPPA regarding what are they worded as? Governing body awareness and engagement survey. It's about a 5 to 10 minute survey, but wanted you all to expect that because you all do the cybersecurity trainings, which are coming out tomorrow or later this week. And you know not to click on random links that show up in your inbox. So wanted to give you a heads up to be expecting it when I get the email or the notification. I will text you all to give you the heads up, but if you're not sure, don't click, call me, and we'll walk through it and make sure it's the appropriate link to click on, but be on the lookout for it. Again, cybersecurity training is coming out later this week, and it'll stay open through the September board meeting. So just knock it out when you get a chance. Other thing wanted to highlight, low income assistance program with FROM. Between writing this and meeting with them, we've landed on the name Leo. It's going to be the Lowell Energy Outreach Program. We're working through the final contract pieces. Don't anticipate any issues. It's in, FROM's taking a look at it now. So we're anticipating getting that signed, executed. We're working through all the other requirements with the law. The office staff's looking through, we're working through all the notification requirements and website requirements. Following the vote and adoption of the rate last month from the board at 95 cents, we've crafted the rate tariff. We'll make sure that gets filed with the city 30 days in advance. But as of now, everything's kind of moving forward with the program as expected. A lot of it's going to be handed over to FROM to administer. They're going to be qualifying customers. They're going to be determining award amounts. They're going to be denying customers, and a lot of the programmatic details are ultimately going to be handled by FROM. It's their expertise, and we're fortunate to have that expertise and a business partner. So the intention is to lean heavily on them and their wheelhouse of duly administering programs like this. Friday, just give the board a heads up. We are going to be closed to the public this Friday for an all company meeting as part of our communications efforts and just really a tearing down of the silos. We're a small organization, but we've got Casey and the generation, Casey and Tom over here. The guys are here. They're spread out, everybody at the office. So we're going to shut down and on Friday, all come together, have a breakfast, and then each department head is going to provide kind of an annual update, and we're going to get into just a discussion about what's important to every department, what's their capital project list look like, what are strategic initiatives that they're undertaking, and just really try to bring everybody together, keep everybody in the loop, and just try and going to work towards strengthening the team that's already strong. So that is this Friday. Lastly, July is always a busy month for anniversaries. We celebrate Tom Russo twice a year, but in July was his rehirement date. Not retirement, rehirement. That's a real word. Yeah, I know. I was reading retirement. It was rehire date, but I was reading the word retirement when I said it.
I kind of like that word, though, retirement.
Yeah, retirement. I'm going to go with it. But Tom's been back with us for 9 years, which is crazy. But then Megan and Nancy also celebrated their 11th work anniversaries, and Casey celebrated his 7th. So got a heck of a good team, and it's a lot of your contributions. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that is all I had.
Okay, schedule meetings. Our next regular board meeting is September 16th. And with that, board comments, Tina.
I'd like to I'd like to say thank you for being a part of the team, Casey and Tom Russo and Megan and Nancy for being a part of this team. I really was thrilled when I first came to the board and I saw a picture of Tom Russo when one year he dressed up as one of the Kiss rock and rollers. And I thought, wow, this place is pretty cool that, that you guys at least had some fun and you guys were open to, Tom is not a person that you walk by and you don't notice. He's tall to me, of course, I'm short. And, so he's definitely a force and I appreciate that Tom came back and told me how he had some conversations with my dad, and my dad had long been gone, so that was pretty cool that he admired, their conversations. So, but we got a great group here, and I appreciate every one of you guys, and thank you for being ours. That's it.
Andrew.
Congratulations to all the anniversaries and re-anniversaries, or
Yeah.
I don't know what you call that now. Yeah, we just, I can't say it much better than Tina did, so I'll let her say how great the staff is. And other than that, just, I'm glad that this company has a pretty good family spirit to it, just for Ryan's sake and things like that. So I've been thinking of him off and on throughout the past, how long it's been, a couple of years, and especially now. So thanks to you guys for being that way for the rest of your coworkers.
Jim.
Even though the solar grant has been paused for a while, I do want to thank the 3 boards that met that day at the park. There was a lot of good questions. People from the solar panels were there, a lot of information, and it was nice to see that all 3 boards were willing to work and think it's an exciting project to move forward. So thank you guys for attending and participating in that meeting. That's it.
Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, every month we have anniversaries and, well, almost every month, it seems like every month, reappointed board members, and it's with Light Howard being close to 129 years old, it makes it a lot easier to keep an organization full of good people when you can keep people in their roles for time and grow them and keep them happy, as well as move the company forward. So it's always good to see those. It makes our job a little bit easier bringing a new person on, someone like Charlie or somebody like that, when other people have been here for years before him and can help him get his feet under. And anyway, it happens every time, so it's good to see. And yeah, and Ryan and the Teachworth family and good friends are just in my thoughts, and it's nice as an organization we are entirely still supportive and close to them. So
Great.
Andrew, Tina, congratulations on another appointment.
Thank you.
We're all in this together. We do it for a whopping $45 a meeting. And you know what, I'm happy to do it, and I know that you guys are too. It's great that a company's got to be good when you've got people coming back to it to work after they retire. Like, there are a lot of people, they leave their work environment and they do not want to go back. They walk the other way and they keep going. Yeah, that can't be said for Tom. And so just thankful that he's around. And Megan and Nancy, 11 years, that is, that's a nice, run. And I hope to see many more. Nancy, she works for both the city and Light and Power. I think she likes Light and Power better, but I'm not, and Casey, yeah, 7 years, thank you. Yep. So, other than that, I don't have much more. I don't have any more.
Okay. I have a few little things, cause it brings me up when we're saying September 16th. So Pink Arrow this year, will be, starting the week of September 22nd. Again, this year, polo, soccer, volleyball, and football will be a part of it. Word has it that TV8 will do, Friday morning, their telecast, from the new soccer stadium. That will mean a 3 o'clock start for me in the morning. So again, the week of the 22nd with the football game on the 26th. I do wanna, there's some pictures. I do wanna talk about the cleanup. So we did the cleanup and I participated. It was, in the morning at, 9 o'clock. We actually met a little bit earlier. And Zach went over, we had a safety meeting before we started. We split up into 2 groups. Some thought they were, could have spread out a little bit more, but I think it was perfect. Everybody had fluorescent on, and again, having the 2 groups, it made a visual impact for vehicles. And again, whether we went against the traffic, so we had more visual on the traffic and actually saw vehicles moving over. Weather was perfect. We got done in about 45 minutes. So it didn't interfere with our hours, but it was also nice. I think Julie was out of town. Well, Julie and Charlie were out of town at a conference, but other than that, we had everybody from, the distribution group to the office was there. So you got a little bit more team camaraderie. And it was a great event, how it turned out. And I would suggest that we continue with that in the future, in that same style. And if you want to mention anything.
No, it was smooth. There's definitely a lot less traffic. There's still a lot of traffic, but a lot less.
A lot less, and I think people are more attentive. They're not hustling to get home and have their minds on something else. You could just, at least I felt, I could feel like drivers were, cautious of us being on the edges of the road. And again, I felt much safer, than when we were doing it at 4:30, 5 o'clock at night. And Casey was there. I mean, it was perfect. And I really also liked, everybody participated in it, seemed more of a group function than ever before. So, I thought that was great. The other is, and I know everybody's aware of it, but some of this is for the general public. Next Thursday, the 21st will be, a memorial service for Jamie, from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. At Coops. funeral chapel in Lake Odessa. And I would encourage all of us to attend. And with that, I would entertain, and congratulations, Casey and whoever, and just congratulations, everybody. I love, our staff and Lowell and our, just as a whole. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Sorry. Move to adjourn at 7:01. Okay.
A support.
That's
Geez, almost under an hour. Holy cow.
gotta be close to our record.
Close to a record. So anyway, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.